This is Colonel Wynn Ward of the United States Cavalry, veteran of the Mexican War and the Civil War, which ended 20 years ago. I'm here to give my report to you about the Civil War in Missouri. In the whole war from April 1861 to April 1865, 1,086,000 men lost their lives. The war was fought over slavery. That was the primary issue. Of the 34 states in the Union, 15 states slavery was legal. Not so in any of the others. Of those 15 states, 11 seceded and left the Union and formed the Confederate States of America. The other 4 slave states considered it but did not leave. None of the other states where slavery was illegal even considered leaving the Union. Slavery was the main cause for the Civil War. In Missouri, there were 115,000 slaves in 1860. Most of them were out in the central part of the state, up around Lexington and the area called Little Dixie, because so many people there were from the South. They were put to work in fields growing hemp to make rope and growing tobacco. There were a number of slaves in the southeastern part of the state who had been set to work in the mines, the lead mines and the iron mines. In major towns and cities like St. Louis, about the only slaves were servants of well-to-do people, liverymen driving all the carriages, household servants taking care of the kids and cooking and taking care of the property, and yard men and carpenters. One of the local residents, Henry Shaw, has a magnificent garden, well known in the whole area, that his slaves built and maintained. So slavery was part of life for many people in Missouri. It's not surprising. 3 out of 4 had either come to Missouri from the South or their parents had. And of course they brought their culture with them. And I've got to mention something. Some people pronounce it, who live there, pronounce it Missouri. Some people pronounce it Missouri. It's been said that those who pronounce it Missouri were from the South and likely had been part of the push with the Confederacy during the late war. And that those who pronounce it Missouri were from the North. I don't know. I think there are exceptions on both sides. But it's sort of a curious thing. At any rate, the Southern culture was a big part of the life in Missouri. The war here had really begun about 10 years before it was announced nationwide. Strife between neighbors over politics and old arguments about the land borders between their fields sort of came to a head when the people began to divide about slavery or no slavery. In 1860, a new governor was elected, Governor Claiborne Fox Jackson. One of Jackson's intentions was to, as quickly as possible, get his legislature to vote the state out of the Union. By coincidence, the day he was inaugurated governor was the same day that the legislature in South Carolina voted that state into secession. And in his inaugural address, because they'd already gotten the telegram, why the governor made note of that, and that how fine an action it was, and that Missouri would do all they could if they were asked to aid their sister state of South Carolina. Very soon, Jackson made 2 moves. The first one, he began organizing state guards, Missouri militia, they later were called, in every city and county. And the governor, of course, they're responsible to him, so the governor chose the head of each of those units. He made sure that the head officer in each one had the same feelings towards secession that he did. And then he was able to get the state legislature to take control of the police force of the city and county of St. Louis out from under the mayor and put it under a police board that would be responsible to the governor. He chose a good friend of his to be the head of the police board, and then those two chose all the members, making sure that there was a great predominance of secession-minded men on the police board.